Good morning. I wanted to talk to you guys about something because I kind of had like a realization just the other day. So most of you guys know I've had no contact with my mother for almost 6 years. This spring will be 6 years. And it has been the best 6 years of my entire 40 years of existence on this planet. And I have been able to heal a lot of like myself mentally and physically. And not even that, just like how the world worked, how your life is supposed to be. I've been able to heal a lot of shit. You know, how you're supposed to act towards other people, treat your children, treat your animals, treat yourself. It has been extremely healing for me. But there's one thing that I have been seeing online, and it breaks my fucking heart, but also makes me feel so grateful, but also makes me sad too, that other people have family members that try to get you to break that no contact that you have with this person who is being mentally and physically abusive towards you. And that's why it breaks my heart. Because you should be able to make a decision about yourself and your life without having people try to trick you and manipulate and gaslight you into being a victim longer from their predatory ways. My mom preyed on me. She thought I was weak. And as I got stronger and started defending myself and setting boundaries, healthy boundaries, this fucking woman had the nerve to tell me, well, I'm not going to come over today because you pick on me all the time. Like, you should feel bad for me. And I'm like, no, these are called boundaries. I've learned them in therapy. And I'm not going to let you treat me or my son like this anymore. Enough is enough. It is time to break the cycle of your abuse. And I'm done. And I acted like her in the past. I had the same mental disabilities that I had to heal through. I feel like I had those because I picked them up from her. I have my own mental disabilities. Don't get me wrong. That woman fucked me up. She verbally, physically, and mentally abused me till I was almost 12. And then she just up and left us. I had extreme Stockholm syndrome and like tons of other shit. And then she mentally and verbally abused me till I was 35. So that's why I started setting boundaries, because I'm like, you're not going to do this to me anymore. We just stopped hanging out as much for like the entire last year we talked, because I was so fucking stressed out, and she triggered me all the time. And the last thing was the last straw when her boyfriend's dog bit my nephew in the face, and they went around town lying about us. I was like, I don't want to talk to you anymore. I'm fucking done. Like, you are such a bitch. And she's like, you're a liar. You're a liar. Like, that didn't happen. It happened this way. And I went right into her face. I said, the only reason you would ever think that I am conniving and sneaky and lying like that is because I learned it from you. Now, didn't I? And I turned around and walked away, and she was screaming at me all the way back. And the last thing my mother ever told me was the day she left, which was like June 29th or something, like almost 6 years ago. And she told me that I'm a fat fucking bitch. And I'm like, okay. And I walked away, and I had turned around, and I was like, well, at least I don't look like a fucking wrinkled dog. Because I knew that would hurt her. I knew that she felt really self-conscious about getting older. She smoked a lot of cigarettes, did a lot of drugs and drinking. So her skin, she kind of looked like a 70-year-old, but she was only in like her 50s. Or even 80-year-old. Like, you could actually like stick your finger inside some of her wrinkles. Like, but the good thing is, even though I said it, she was already walking her way inside the bar. So she didn't hear me say it. So I felt like a winner because I walked away from her and I didn't let her trigger me. I didn't turn around and give her what she so desperately wanted, which was still to connect with me, but she didn't know how to do that and fix all the shit she had fucked up. So she just called me a fat fucking bitch. You fat ass. You're fucking disgusting, you fat slob. That's on her. Now, she talked to me that way. That's the last thing she said to me. I did go home. I did cry in my dad's arms. My dad did want to go to the bar and fucking beat her up. He's like, how can she, after all these years, 35 years, still be hurting my children? And I was like, no, Dad, don't do that. You're going to get in trouble. Like, she's going to have to deal with that guilt for the rest of her life. Anyways. Wow, I've been talking forever. I'm sorry. So the reason why it hurts my feelings that she has not a single family member on her side will talk to her. She had her brother, the one that came up to visit, but then they got in fights and stuff and he passed away. She has not a single family member or friend on her side to speak up for her. Not a single one of her, like, 3 or 4 husbands she's had, nobody on their family, none of her friends and family, none of, like, my friends. Only one person at the bar who was drunk was like, oh, you know, she's your mother. You shouldn't, like, have no contact. You shouldn't exclude her from your life. She's your mother. And I'm like, yeah, that's the whole point. You stopped being friends with her because she thought she was talking shit about you to somebody else, but she texted you. And if you're not going to talk to her for the shit she did to you as a friend, why should I have to deal with the stuff that she's done to me as my mother? Like, that's even worse. She's my family. She's supposed to protect me. She birthed me. And I have to put up with her shit just because she's my mom? No fucking thank you. But that's been so healing for me because I don't have to deal with the drama or the stress or the trauma of people trying to get me to be manipulated and live a horrible life with her in my life and have contact with her. So it breaks my heart that other people do have to deal with that type of shit from their friends and family. Cousins, grandparents, parents, sisters, brothers. I don't have to deal with that at all. Not a single fucking person wants that bitch back in their life. And neither do I. I'm not going to put myself through that shit anymore. And it has been so healing these past 6 years. You guys have literally watched me heal myself. And I still talk about all the struggles that I've had. I still talk about my mental disabilities and how much that woman fucked me up since birth. You know? And I used to act just like her. Well, I don't anymore. I act like me. I am me now. Because I had no contact with her. No influence from her whatsoever. And I've been able to become somebody that I really love. Like, I said it out loud a few years ago. I was like, I actually like myself. And then a few years after that, I'm like, I think it was this past year, I'm like, I actually love my life. And I love me. For the first time in like 39 years of my life, I actually love myself. And there's nothing wrong with that. You know? I've been able to cry and really like break down and heal my inner child and reparent myself and like accept that that was my past, but I have to let that person go because I'm not that person anymore. I'm not going to hold on to all my traumas anymore. I want to live my life, trauma and drama free. And it feels so good to have that connection severed forever. Feels great.